It would make football so much more interesting. Sergio Ramos is gone. In Singapore, you can continuously molest and destroy the life of a young boy or girl and you'll get maximum 15 years prison, depending on how heinous the crime is. But you can get the death sentence for carrying marijuana into the country. As you can see, Singapore has its priorities in place. Canada is awful too for sex offenders. There was a man who was caught assaulting little girls, 2 of which attempted suicide, and he only got sentenced 4 years in prison, but he got out in 2 years. But for drugs, minor, tax fraud, petty theft, people only get 2 to 10 years for that. Because of DNA evidence, over 150 death row inmates have been exonerated. That's 1 out of 10. https skeptical smiley face, www.ncadp.org, pages, innocence hash, tilde. Text equals exonerations %20 of %20 innocent %20 men %20 and %20 women, and text equals 156 %20 individuals %20 have %20 been %20 exonerated, innocent %20 and %20 released %20 2D %20 since %201,973. And text equals in %20 other %20 words %2C %20 for %20 every person %20 has %20 been %20 set %20 free. Over 1,500 inmates have been executed. There are currently over 7,800 sentenced to death. The actual percentage is closer to 2%. Still, 1 out of 50 is too high. This is the main reason for me. In an individual case, a person could be guilty enough to deserve it, but as a policy matter on a larger scale, the chance of an innocent being inappropriately murdered by the state due to a wrongful conviction is too significant to justify its use. Not in favor. People can be coerced into confessing crimes they didn't commit. Evidence can be manipulated, mishandled, poorly understood. The criminal justice system is fallible. I don't think it's good for society. This is more a gut reaction. People have been exonerated decades after the crime and were innocent. Some crimes are heinous enough for that punishment, sure. But I believe you have to be 100% certain of that person's guilt, otherwise you could be killing an innocent person. If you can't arrive at 100% certainty, then no. The thing is, they always think they're 100% certain when they execute someone, and it turns out sometimes they're wrong. I'd be more in favor of it if the justice system actually worked. The primary flaw with our system is that prosecution is incentivized to win instead of finding the truth. This leads to unfair plea deals and wrongful convictions. I don't have much sympathy for the criminal, but I'm uncomfortable with it as long as the justice system is fallible. Bingo, and any system is fallible because humans are inherently fallible. I think that we should not give the state the authority to execute its citizens. This here is my answer. A lot of people deserve death penalty, no one deserves the authority to do it. The man who passes the sentence should swing the sword. Taking a life shouldn't be easy. If a man sentences another man to death, he should be prepared to carry that burden with him until his dying day. Make every juror stab the prisoner once. This is something I have changed my mind on over the years. Not in favor of the state having the power to kill people. Especially in cases involving circumstantial evidence. Prone to error, irreversible and, ironically, devaluing of the human condition. 100% against the death penalty. In principle, my first thought is that yes, if someone commits horrible crimes and there is no doubt they're guilty, it's easy to want them dead. But then there's the problem of error, which means that we can never enforce the death penalty, because there is no way to be certain of someone's guilt. But more importantly, the point of prison and law enforcement should not be retribution, it should be rehabilitation and protection. If you put someone in jail for the rest of their life, they can't hurt anyone else, theoretically. Killing someone 'cause they are evil is just getting even. I can say with confidence that someone may deserve to die, but what does killing them accomplish? The point of the legal system should be to protect society, not to take revenge. An eye for an eye just makes 2 men blind. Many that live deserve death. And some that die deserve life. Can you give it to them? Then do not be too eager to deal out death in judgment. J.R.R. Tolkien by way of Gandalf the Grey, The Fellowship of the Ring. It's wrong. The slimmest chance that someone undeserving gets killed makes the entire thing fundamentally immoral. Not to mention, studies have shown that it isn't a deterrent. It is only hotbed social issue that I actually do not have an opinion on. I actually think that both sides make compelling and cognizant arguments either why it should or shouldn't be used, and I both agree and disagree with them. So I actually don't know how I feel about it. I feel pretty much exactly the same about this. Killing someone doesn't bring any lasting justice or peace, it's often nothing more than feeble revenge. The entire criminal and justice system is fucked, so giving the power to such a fucked system to take anyone's life is a big no for me. Death penalty makes it far too easy for the government or state to remove those they deem undesirable or a threat to expose their corruption. When somebody has murdered several of your family members, you will likely find peace in their death. Having that man who did that to my family still alive today over 30 years since he proudly murdered them does not bring us any sense of peace or closure. There are many great resources to get educated on the subject. Dead Man Walking is a great book. John Oliver does a very thorough investigative piece on Last Week Tonight. Generally speaking, feelings and morals aside, there is no way to enforce the death penalty that is not exorbitantly expensive and riddled with error. It is actually cheaper to have a person serve a lifetime sentence. And many people have been put to death and later proven innocent. Our justice system in the USA needs a huge makeover before we should even consider permanent consequences. For a comedy show, it is amazing how thorough and accurate John Oliver is. Puts most serious news to shame. I'm in favor of the concept for only certain crimes. If we know for an absolute fact that someone committed heinous crimes like child molestation, rape, or serial murder, I don't think there's any point in trying to reintegrate those people into society. If they've admitted to the crimes, were found in the act, there's zero doubt it was them, I think a quick bullet to the head should be all they get. However, I could never in a million years trust any government, court, or law enforcement to get it right. Cops can be, and oftentimes are, fucking stupid. Courts can be biased by race, gender, age, or any number of other factors. Governments would expand its use beyond heinous crimes to fit their agenda. There have been too many innocent people given the death penalty for me to ever feel comfortable advocating for it to actually be used. I'm against it. There's been far too many innocent people executed in the past. If someone is imprisoned and found to be innocent, they can be released. You can't undo capital punishment. That's my feeling too. If there's even a 0.001% chance of an innocent person getting executed, then to me, that's too high a risk. Given that the justice system isn't infallible and sometimes innocent people can be found guilty, there should always at least be the possibility to undo a guilty verdict if new information comes to light. I've always been an eye for an eye kind of person, but I wouldn't go that far except for cases when 1, it's pretty much indisputable who did it, and 2, the killer is someone who literally cannot feel empathy. Those psychopaths from the 70s that have no remorse or capacity to be regretful, sorry. The ones that are too far gone to return to humanity. Prison time would do nothing, and many of them feed off of attention from media, books, fan mail, news articles, etc. Yep. People like Ted Bundy, John Wayne Gacy, Jeffrey Dahmer, Manson H. Holmes, etc. I have no sympathy for. I think they are worshipped too much and romanticized. Example, Hotel season of American Horror. Maybe I'm cold-hearted, but I won't lose sleep that they are dead. Pedro Lopez's whereabouts are unknown, and that would make me lose sleep. You're becoming the very thing you swore to destroy. Normally I'd agree, but how is killing someone who tortures people for fun the same thing as torturing people for fun? Those are two very different situations. Death isn't always a bad thing. Bad and irreversible. The irreversible part is what always makes it a bad decision. Emo. People see articles about, man spends X years in prison and is given a pittance as compensation after being exonerated, but even getting your freedom and an insufficient amount of money is better than being dead. Beyond any debate about punishment versus vengeance or state power to kill people, the simple fact that a mistake can't be rectified makes it, to me, an unreasonable form of punishment. The arrival of DNA evidence demonstrated that there was a significant number of actually innocent people on death row. On that basis, I can't support the death penalty. Against it. The government has no business condemning people to death. Life in prison? Absolutely, but death is a punishment that can't be taken back, and the system has repeatedly proven itself to be far from infallible. For even one innocent to be unjustly murdered by the legal system, it is a total failure. There have been quite a few. As such, capital punishment should never be allowed. The search for the real perpetrator usually stops completely after an execution as well, so it is a double failure, often only dragged to light many years later, years of the real criminal running free.